Rollag is home to many steam engines, large and small, traction and stationary. The Montana boiler has been a staple on our grounds since the early 1970s. Coming to us from Montana, hence the name, it is used to power multiple stationary steam engines on our grounds, like the Pabst, Sioux, Steamhammer, and others. It has 100 3-inch diameter flues and a large firebox to produce the steam needed to run all of these engines at the same time. Many of our members started their journey to becoming a licensed operator on this boiler. The whistle can be heard across our showgrounds and often a few miles away, especially for the first whistle blow on Friday morning of our show. It has both a steam-powered water pump and injectors to maintain the water level and steam pressure, as well as forced and induced draft airflow. You can see the fireman examining the firebox when shoveling coal to make sure he's covering up any light spots in the firebox to help ensure an even bed of coals, resulting in more even heating.
This hammer came out of the Great Northern, Burlington Northern shops in St. Paul, Minnesota. We got it here in the early 1970s. That's about the time a lot of this big industrial equipment was being scrapped, and the big engines in the two buildings behind us here, and the hammer we got then, and all these steam shows across the country like Rollag were just getting going. So it's all these shows salvage so much of this stuff from the scrap, man. That's why it's all here for us to enjoy. The day after the show in 1975, September 3rd, it's carved right in the cement there, we dug a hole back here to pour footings. That hole had to be deep because it's 10 foot 4 inches of concrete. And what you see in front of you there is 30,560 pounds of iron sitting on that. The hammer was set up next summer, 1976, and ready to go to work for the 76 show. We don't know what the railroad maybe made with this, but it's a forging hammer. They would have forged hot iron equipment or hot iron products into shafts or axles or whatever, and wasn't practical for us to do that. And Mr. Raymond Schoberg from Milwaukee was kind of the backbone behind this project, and we have to credit the success of this project for Rollag to Ray. He suggested we make a souvenir plate. He was a tool and die maker, and he thought we should try a souvenir plate, and he offered to make a die in bicentennial year, so he made a die with the Liberty Bell on it, and we forged Liberty Bell plates, not knowing whether people would like them or how successful the project would be. But the Liberty Bell plate went over very good in 1976, and we certainly tried it the next year, and now 48 years later, we are still forging souvenir plates. Our complete collection, starting with our Liberty Bell on the upper left over here, concluding with our 48th plate, the lower right here, are all on display. If you haven't seen them, if you have time to look at them, we've done some beautiful plates over the years. Every year a new center die is made. Center is where the year is and whatever's going to be on the plate for that year. The outside part of this die is the same die we've been using for 48 years. It's never wore out, never broke. In the center is where the year is and whatever's going to be on the plate. Usually has to do with the theme of the show. This year we're featuring military and veterans, and we have the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima is on the plate. Next year we're featuring John Deere, and I'm sure there'll be something to do with John Deere on the plate. The hammer is got kind of interesting information that, contrary to most of the stuff that you see here, thank you. Most of the stuff you see at the show here, the equipment survived, but the companies that built all this equipment have been gone for decades. Morgan Engineering that built this hammer is still in business today. They celebrated their 150th year in business in 2018. Not only are they still in business, but they kept records of all of the equipment that they had made. So that's how we know the weight of this. Also back last year, we put the banner up there. We celebrated 130-year birthday of this hammer. So this year, on February 6th of this year, was 131 years ago since this hammer was shipped to St. Paul Roundhouse. So Morgan Engineering kind of acknowledged us that this is most likely the oldest piece of equipment that they built that's still operating, and it has to be one of the oldest or the oldest pieces of steam-operated equipment here on the grounds. Nobody has confirmed or denied that to me, but that's my observation. With the records we got from Morgan, it cost them $1,549.53 to build this hammer 131 years ago. And when you do the math on that, it's just a little over a nickel a pound for labor and material. The hammer is powered with steam from the boiler behind you. That boiler also, for you people that, whether you've been here before or not, boiler's been there for years, and we've always had a single whistle up on the top. The sun, it's hard to look at it. But this summer, that whistle that's on top of the Montana is a replica of what was on the Titanic. And when they blow that, it's quite impressive. There's a write-up about it over by the Montana, and I think it said in 1912, when that original whistle was built, it was the loudest whistle that had ever been built, and that you could hear it for either 11 or 13 miles. I can't remember. That's what it says over there. So it's loud, but you actually feel it when they blow it. You can just feel the vibration through your whole body. So it's a different experience. So we get our steam from there, piped underground, comes up into the steam cylinder at the top. The red part here is the actual hammer that weighs 1,500 pounds. And that's how this equipment was rated, by what the rate of the working head was. So this is a 1,500 pound hammer. You know, I have no idea how big they made them, but they made them a lot bigger than this, and they also made them smaller. We're asking this hammer to give us one hit for making a plate, so doing something totally different than it was intended to do. These plates are sold over in the building behind me, and all proceeds go to make a better show here at Rollag. Also, if you haven't seen our plates, they're on display, plus a big history from Morgan Engineering.
The Twin City Iron Works engine powered the William Box and Lumber Company in St. Paul, Minnesota between 1904 and 1958. It was built with the patented coreless valve gear and boasts a 20.5-inch cylinder bore, 4 feet of travel, and has a 12-foot long connecting rod. The flywheel weighs in at 19,000 pounds and sits on a 7-foot deep foundation containing roughly 250 yards of concrete. During its time in production use, it was the prime source of electricity. It sat idle from 1958 until 1971, when it moved to Rollag and has operated since. The Allis-Chalmers generator produces 240 volts of 3-phase electricity running at 450 RPMs. Our exhibits run slower than design speeds for various reasons, so while we do not connect this power to our show, our volunteers have created a small example of the output and display it on the screen for you to review. This 460 horsepower engine was running in conjunction with other similar engines and generators at the Sioux Line's Shoreham Yard in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a Buckeye steam engine built in 1909 and runs a 300 kilowatt Westinghouse DC generator. It provided power for the rail yard for many years, and in 1982 came to our showgrounds. The project spans multiple years, with the first groundbreaking taking place in 1999. It is a great addition to our showgrounds and lets you see the sheer size of equipment needed back in the day to provide electricity. The Pabst engine is actually not made by Pabst at all. It was a power source at the Pabst Brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The engine itself is a 1906 Allis-Chalmers 600 horsepower, 2-cylinder, vertical compound engine with coreless valving. The total weight of this engine is a whopping 85 tons. The engine is directly coupled to a 400 kilowatt generator, meaning there is no belt between the engine and generator. When it was in production use, it would generate 3-phase power and 460 volts and operated at 125 RPMs on 150 pounds of steam. This engine and an identical engine were installed in the brewery in 1906 and designed to operate 24 hours a day at 100% capacity. The heat from the low-pressure side of the engine was used for heat in both the brewing process and the building. It was used until 1968, and during its time in production, was stopped only for routine maintenance and suffered no serious breakdowns during its life. It is currently the largest known engine of its kind, still in operation today. Taking a ride on the 353 around our showgrounds gives you a great opportunity to see a sample of all the various types of steam power on display.